Welcome to this presentation about the Dulong IP Interactive Whiteboard. Like all interactive whiteboards, this has three elements that are very important. First one being the board itself, which is generally connected by USB cable running across to your computer, which can be Windows, Macintosh or Linux based. So you can end up having any of those operating systems. The computer is then connected to our overhead projector, and we have the three elements working together to drive the board. Important to note, there is no external power required to connect to the board, just the USB cable. I've tried to list here some of the features of using the interactive whiteboard, and when we come down here, what I can do is I can drag down a list of various different pen and brush styles that we can work with. There's a great range of different pens. We've got the standard pen. We also have transparent pens that we can work with so that we can highlight certain things. I can change colour quickly and transparency as well using those pens. So I can get a lighter shade, come over, or a darker shade as the case. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is the shape recognition function. Let's try an irregular shape. And finally, let's try an oval shape. In fact, any of the standard geometric shapes you see here can be replicated using the geometric recognition or shape recognition pen available as part of the IPBoard. So let's just examine that resource bank again. By opening up the resource bank, we can explore any of the areas. I've chosen to go to the geography area, the maps. Let's choose a map of Australia and drag it onto our stage to work. Having dragged it, you can see that it is editable in lots of different ways. One of the ways that we can work with it is we can rotate it. Seeing I've chosen the land down under, you can certainly rotate it, put it whatever way we like. So all of those functions are available. As I said before, I can edit things, so I can select a certain area. If I want to fill an area, it's a very quick, very easy thing to be able to change. The other feature to bring your attention to is that I can choose to bring in a resource from elsewhere and add it to my gallery. For example, if I would like that image of the tap there, what I can choose to do is go to my camera mode. I can choose to capture a section of the screen, and in doing so, if I drag out my area, capture, I have now captured that object clearly into my document. The advantage of having done that is that I can now either use it in that document or I can choose to add it to my own personal gallery. What I now have is I have available in my personal gallery a graphic that I can use over and over again in any other application. Next, you'll see that I have an insert menu, and there are various media that I'm able to insert into a document, and I can choose to insert a list of different types of media. For example, if we look here, I can insert image files, flash files. Going back to image files, I can insert the common formats of bitmap, JPEG, PNG, WMF. So there are a large number of files that I can drag into my presentation. Here's an example of a flash image file that I have brought into the IPBoard software. And you can see fully active dial that I can easily work with. You'll see the clock is able to be brought up. Sorry, this was the first time. The clock is brought up onto the screen, and not only can we adjust it to show the time, but I can use it as a countdown clock if we have a certain amount of time left in our presentation, or to in fact time something using the stopwatch mode. So quite useful for presentations. We have a tracker, a ruler and a compass, which I will show you a little bit later on. What I talk now about is the power of links, and Julong software for presenting and editing does support linking in lots of different ways. What I'd like to show you is here how we can hyperlink, and the hyperlink function allows you to link not only to a page in your presentation, such as in a PowerPoint presentation or a web page, but it will also allow you to link to a file from a hard disk. So if you have a pre-recorded file, such as a Word document or an Excel file, that you want to open from within your presentation, it's a very easy task to do so. So it supports all of that linking. Let's have a look at an example of how I might use that. What I've got here is something where I'm talking about Asia, and we're identifying countries. I've got an activity here where I want somebody to click a puzzle and go out to a website. By going to the website, I'm now into another interactive experience where I get the opportunity to go in and do some more activities. So I can pop those points in and identify certain areas and certain parts. Very simply, after I finish my activity, I'm brought back to my presentation again. What I've got here is a link then to other pages. So by clicking that link, I've brought myself onto another page in my presentation, and I've got a part here where I've said click here to go back again. So you can see that the links are very similar to a hyperlink document, and I can either attach them to objects or I can use an icon here, which is now taken out of the next section. And for this section, I'd like to talk to you about how to use audio. And audio can be powerful, obviously, in an educational environment or in a business presentation. But let's just talk about how we might use it in a classroom situation. I can use audio to give feedback to somebody. So here I am, English sentence, and I'm going to drag the words into the right place. If I think I have all my words in the right place, I can check it.
The cat sat on the old man's hat.
By audio feedback. So there are a lot of uses for audio and for any of the other multimodal presentation modes in a presentation setting. And